All right, we ready to rock and roll?
Charlie, what's up, bud?
Tony G. Greco, mine right
In full effect.
This group really needs to be on.
Not a gongin'.
Hi, guys. So Deej is on vacation this week, and I'm going to lead the team meeting. Sound good? Sweet. Cool little backstory. Deej took her sister and her niece to London and Paris, and Deej is the one treating them. Cotter, you a little song. Is the one treating them, and it was something that's been on her vision board for a while. And so the aspect that she had the opportunity to deliver something like that to somebody else, I think it's a huge testament to her. And I think a great segue into kind of like our mission, vision, values, beliefs, and perspectives around building careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth leaving. And I think it's a great testament to when you do things well and you're afforded opportunities in life, and what you do with those opportunities and how you provide for others is a great example. So then also in June is we're celebrating Pride Month. I know Zach and Shipleys and a variety of others were in downtown Milwaukee. Jean Greco's, Steph Connor, a handful of others walked to the Pride Parade. Zach, I saw you out there. And in the month of June, celebrating Pride, we are doing a food drive for Courage MKE. I saw the big brown container down in the kitchen downstairs. So
Pantry's looking a little light, guys.
I'll make the first donation.
Thank you. Yes. Remember, just any non-perishable food item, canned good, would be greatly appreciated for Courage. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Couple operations and accounting updates for the group. Last night, I sent out a note around updates of commissions in command. So what are we doing? We're moving our system so that you can get real access to real-time data as it relates to where your caps are, what your profit share looks like, and everything else in between. In order to do that, last week, if you recall, we had to have a blackout window. And the blackout window was a blackout from submitting anything while we did a systems turnover. And then yesterday on June 10th, the systems came back up and live. So the system came back up live yesterday. You are able to submit commissions within command as of yesterday. And here's where I just am asking for your help. This is the gist of my note last night is Michelle and Emily, who process all the commissions in Southwest, processed commissions last week during the crux of like the spring selling season in terms of closings. So they have to process last week's commissions and this week's closings all in 1 week's period, working in a new system that they've never operated before. So it is taking them a bit more time than they're used to as they're learning a new mode of operation on the back end. And just appreciate your time. I know a few people had reached out, asked, hey, what about this closing or this, that, and the other? If you have questions, we're happy to answer them. I just wanted you to know we're working to get caught up as fast as possible and making sure that your data is properly entered and accurate so that we're paying you with what you expect. Is that cool? Did I miss anything or any questions there? No? All right, sweet. Super simple. Also from an operations standpoint, next week, Wednesday, is June 19th. And if you're unfamiliar, June 19th is celebrates Juneteenth Day. And a little bit of a helping understand what is Juneteenth. When they came out with the Emancipation Proclamation effective in 1863, it wasn't until 2 years later when all the slaves in the South were freed. And so that happened on June 19th, 1865 in Galveston, Texas. And And June 19th then has been celebrated by many as the second Independence Day. And it really is a celebration of, you know, celebration of the freed slaves in the South, but also, you know, now it's recognized in 2021, it was recognized as a federally recognized holiday. Banks are closed. And it really, I would say, in the last 4 to 5 years has become more of a celebration of who we are as a culture and a community in America, and helping bring awareness to Juneteenth Day that I think is incredibly important. And one of the things I'll tell you is if you haven't had the opportunity to experience it, Milwaukee has an incredibly robust Juneteenth Day celebration. I've had the opportunity to attend it 4 or 5 times. And it's a very culturally vibrant experience. It's really, really neat. Just people celebrating similarly to what you would experience on 4th of July in terms of the vibrancy to it. Very similarly shows up on June 19th. So I wanted to make sure that we recognize that upcoming next week, and B, also to let you know that in observance of the Juneteenth holiday, the offices will be closed next week. Sound good? Cool. Any questions there? Awesome. Kipley? Defender Dawn?
Yeah, I just have, so a couple of things, we've been getting a lot of questions, which is like reassurance more than anything else, people calling compliance and saying, hey, with all of this stuff going on with the lawsuit, do I fill out the offer or the listing contract differently? And right now the answer is no. So right now the answer is that the listing contract has not changed in the commission section. So it's still whatever your total commission is, and then if your seller is offering a buyer agent commission that they're for right now advertising, you put that on that line for the buyer agent commission. Just making sure that you're continuing to have conversations with your clients about what does this mean, what are some implications if they choose not to offer buyer agent compensation. So just making sure that you're having those conversations up front so there's no surprises. If you haven't watched Value Squared, I know it's on the KWMKE website. Like that's a great thing to revisit if you didn't see it when it was there, just to talk about what is the value of offering of your value as a buyer agent, and the value of offering that commission as a seller. The thing that I'm also hearing is, hey, this seller is not offering this is not offering buyer agent commission. How do I write that into an offer? And the answer is that we're not supposed to be negotiating commission in an offer. So it shouldn't be that we were writing, seller to offer 2.4% commission to buyer agent at closing. Really the way that it should be written is as a closing cost credit. So just a reminder.
Well, so if there's a 2% co-broke in there, you can put in the offer co-broke to be 2.4%.
So you're supposed to put the 0.4% as an additional closing cost credit from the seller to the buyer. So we're not supposed to be negotiating commission in the offer.
And your buyer agency has what your commission is at the buyer.
Would that be just incorporated in the addendum A?
You could do that, yeah, and we will be putting the clause language in the clause manager just to make sure that we have a standard.
Nothing has changed.
No,
because I've always put agent whatever the co-broke to be 2.4%.
So technically, according to the WRA, we're not supposed to be negotiating buyer agent commission in an offer because that's an agreement between the seller and the
it's not. It's nothing to do with the buyer agency. I don't even have to have a buyer agency.
That's right. So no, but between the seller and
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying in there at all to cover the buyer agency. I'm just saying, just point blank, co-broke to be 2.4%. That's it.
We'll get the language in SIP forms.
Huh?
This is your buyer agency.
No.
Put that in the offer.
My buyer agencies right now just say what's ever being offered by co-broke. Everybody's different.
She's saying just in the offer.
Yeah, in the offer.
I know that's what I'm saying. In
Yeah.
the offer, on the thing, additional things, I always, I just say someone's only offering a 2%. I'll say co-broke to be 2.4%. And they can take that to their seller and say, this is part of the deal.
Yes.
That's not.
Yeah, so according to the WRA,
It is allowed.
According to the WRA, we're not supposed to be.
Things are changing.
But haven't changed yet.
Correct.
All right, that's all I was saying.
So
Yeah.
just getting
We're
ready
talking about where
as,
we are right now.
Well,
but as,
Even right now.
where we are right now, there's a lot of things that people do.
Yes.
That are not
So
really
best
supposed to be done.
practice
So,
is,
Can I make a general commentary?
Yeah.
Things have changed, and then they've changed, and then they've changed again, and there was a deadline, then the deadline changed, and then it changed, and then it changed, and then it changed, and it changed. Things are changing. We'll navigate as things change. Okay, and we'll keep you informed. There's two things you have to be very aware of, okay? And you need to think broader than just our four walls. As an industry, where we're headed and how things are changing is something that we're navigating, Shore West is navigating, First Weber is navigating, and guess what? We all have to navigate it together. Because the beauty in our industry in Wisconsin is that our forms, our legal contracts are done by REEB, Real Estate Examining Board. So we all have contracts that are run at the state level, okay? Second thing, Connor, to address where we are today. Let's play a little game, shall we?
do it.
Okay, you have three choices. Up, down, or flat. Across close to 2,500 transactions from January 1 of this year till May 31st of this year. Anybody want to have an indication of where commissions lie within our own environment across 2,500 transactions from Jan 1 till May 31st? And mind you, the news came out when about this whole thing? October 31st. Yeah.
So
So
total commissions average,
average blended across the entire environment.
I'm gonna
Up.
go even.
Flat, even, flat. They're up 0.1% in our environment in the last 6 months. So my challenge to the group is we'll help you navigate the change. We'll help you figure out what the contracts are. By the way, the new WB is going to be coming down from REEB. Stay tuned on that because it will change how commissions after the purchase. But for all the doom and gloom and all the worry and all the nervous and all the anxiety that people had across 2,500 transactions, commissions are up 0.1% so far the first 6 months of the year. That's all of those, all in our KW environment.
What about Cobra?
This is all commissions.
I know that. What about Cobra? I just say, because I just heard a comment downstairs from someone about they're listing something at 3.6 or 2% Cobra. So their end is staying the same, but we're cutting Cobras. And I just.
Well, that is inclusive of co-bros. It's all commissions because we can see both sides of the transaction. All commissions are up 0.1%. Now, that's not to say that, yes, I've seen listings where people is offering 1%. I've seen listings where people are offering 0%. And yet, across 2,500 transactions, commissions are up 0.1%. So there are exceptions to the rule in terms of what's actually happening in the industry. And I think what you're also seeing, and I've seen this because of tracking it, those that came out with 0%, there's a direct correlation to what their days on market is, what their list price to sales price ratio is. So we're working through it and everything's negotiable. Right, Defender Dog?
yes, exactly. So we'll have some language for you guys as you're writing offers, if someone is offering.
Yeah.
Don is saying.
Yeah.
Forever, you're not supposed to address commissions within the offer.
Best practice.
Yes, so that's been a law for.
Just best practice. People do it.
No.
Yeah, you've been like fortunate that no one's called you out on it. That's the thing. I don't know what the right word is. It's unenforceable.
Yeah.
That's the term like, force that listing agent paid, 2.4%.
Yeah.
The listing agent and buyer agent are not a party to the contract, so you can't negotiate that. Right? But if you were to do like, seller to give the buyer closing cost credits and closing cost credit fees.
I get that. I'm just saying, I have in the past, can't do it anymore because you're competition. So many people are off. But I've had put there, to be 2.4. Plain and simple. And there's nothing in there that says you can't do it. I'm not asking for a buyer agency thing. I'm not asking for anything else.
I guess we'll all just have to agree to disagree because,
Refusing to understand it.
yeah,
It's
you're not supposed to do, just because you do it and get away with it, doesn't mean that there aren't rules in place to say you shouldn't.
I don't
do it.
think there is a rule in place that
So
says.
you
I-
have like 17 people saying there are
It-
for the WRA,
Here's-
so.
real quick. We'll take this scenario offline. Powder will follow up.
Yes.
There's questions of
Everything
enforcement.
changes. It's anything else with this.
So,
You had brought up the graph correlation of market. I feel like that's a good topic for the realistic presentation. That's like graphs.
stay tuned. To be honest with you, there isn't enough data yet to make it, there's too many outliers that skew data. And I think, quite frankly, there's been a handful that have closed at the reduced co-broke commission rates. We just need a bit more time. Because it's not as dramatic as what people are thinking, which is why I shared this information. Say, look, like what you think is happening and what actually is happening are two different things.
I feel like you couldn't really find it out though. It was negotiated as a cost credit, you can't find that stuff.
Correct. But I don't think the closing cost credit is a robust of a lever
No, I know,
yet.
I'm just saying like you can't really find stats on that.
No.
Because if someone offered a 0% quote and then negotiated a closing cost concession, you can't see that stat in the MLS. So
And you don't know if it
can't
was
really
because
find-
of the home inspection or because of the commission or why that happened. That's,
It's,
and they're gonna change, I mean, again, thank you, right? Like, pretty soon, I
We'll
think.
navigate it.
I think we're gonna have a solid private board commission.
we got you. But know this, the entire industry is sitting at the exact same point and we're all navigating it together. So don't feel as if you're too far ahead or too far behind because we're all in it together. Cool? Wooten, you on tech and marketing? What do we got?
Hi. So we wanted to share, again, our summer touch program. A lot of exciting things that have been released. I think we have mentioned a couple of these before. The farmers markets, guys, if you haven't sent that out, still super relevant, right? A lot of these farmers markets go into like October. So if you haven't sent that one out, get that one sent out. This QR code, is it working? Will take you to our marketing concierge where you can get the, you can sign up for the 12 Direct, so we'll make this into a postcard for you to mail out to your database. Don't forget there are also smart plans in our smart plan library under Milwaukee. And we also have the summer festivals that are happening right now. So Pride Fest this past weekend, lots of other things that are going on in the Milwaukee area. I would also get that one out pretty quickly as well. Lots of fun things to do this summer. And then we also just released 4th of July fireworks in the area. So Milwaukee County, Waukesha, Ozaukee, and Washington counties. And that's a smart plan as well. And you can also get that in a postcard. So send those fireworks out to your databases. I would probably work on that this week. Because that's coming up. Yeah. All right. And then another real exciting smart plan that we have is brought to us by Matt and Ed, our resident land guys back there. So we know that your database is full of people that own or are searching for vacant land. And we're not talking about the half-acre lot in a residential neighborhood. We're talking about the 100-acre parcel that they can hunt on, right? So we know those people are in your database. So we create a simple smart plan for you. You don't have to change any piece of it. You can just download and send it. And it's a great touch for your database to find the people that have those listings. Then you can say to them, hey, can I put you in touch with my land expert who's on my team? You give Matt and Ed that lead, they'll pay you a 30% referral. And this is your client for life because when you show up in a way that makes them feel like you're doing a really good job, you have a team of experts that know how to navigate these large acreage parcels of land, they're going to believe in you and have confidence in you even more so when it comes to their residential transaction, right? So think of it as you're helping them with offloading a piece of land that they probably don't use anymore. And in return, you're building trust with them that you're an expert in the real estate market, right?
And then they just use you then when they have a real estate transaction. Make sense? So get the smart plan out there, get those referrals. They'll give you 30% for a listing referral, 25% for a buyer side. Questions? So smart plan library, search Milwaukee. You'll find this one. Cool. All right. Our social branding boot camp's going strong. I know last week Willis did like Instagram reels and like some of the differences of social media. This week we're going to talk all about ChatGPT and how to use that in your social media branding. So remember that is in person or on Zoom. I highly recommend going in person just so you can kind of play with the tech while somebody else is there helping you play with the tech. And then our realtor refresh is tomorrow. So there is a wait list. If you're interested and you didn't sign up and you want to be on the wait list, reach out to Lindsay or Bella. They're the two coordinating this. If you did sign up, you should have received a no before you go email just in the last couple of hours. If you didn't get that, let me know and I'll forward it to you. Okay.
Sweet. All right, here we go. Training education coming up. A handful of things to call out. Reminder next week, 19th, Juneteenth Day, offices are closed. On the 21st, Maureen has a guest via Zoom, via 10 a.m. June 12th, Gustavo and the team at Cream City are hosting a summer kickoff barbecue party at Estabrook Park from 4 to 7. Live music, food, drinks, and everything in between. Right, G? Anything you want to say? It is tomorrow. John Warren and the team at A Plus is hosting a Brewers tailgate on the 26th. Tailgating starts at 10:30. Be there. Reach out to John for details on that. Kinetic Wealth Mastermind. Tina, next one is tomorrow. What do you got?
Marina, thank you, from 1 to 3. Let me know if you need the address, but right out the lakefront, beautiful views.
Sweet.
And I have a super awesome deal that I'm going to present tomorrow for right here about it. Yeah, this is a Berlin property. So, you want to hear about it? Yeah, go.
All right, commissions in command. Guys, we'll send you a quick tutorial via video. There's also the 18th in Southwest at 10:30, as well as the 17th via Zoom. And we will send you a tutorial on some of the changes that are coming up. Stay tuned. Abby is hosting a summer refresh on your business around clean habits and clean data all around your database. So if you want to do that, join that this week, Thursday from 11 to 12 via Zoom. And then I know James Shaw and Jeff Glover have talked a lot around DISC and how you communicate effectively to other profiles so that you can communicate most effectively and not have misinterpretation this style. So we have Eric Forster with Workplace Renegades, who's going to be here on the 13th at 1 in the Southwest office, and on the 20th at the Innovation office, because it was a follow-up to what both James and Jeff talked about around how do you understand the styles you're communicating with to communicate with them most effectively. Yeah.
So if you're thinking about going, I don't like it. I actually I took his class before I put it on the calendar for you guys. So like you do the class for an hour. I learned things that I never knew about this person. So I mean I'll just say like really
and then ladies, the ladies want to take care of you at Holy Hill Ski Club out in Richfield, a variety of activities on Monday, June 12th. So feel free to register. Today is the last day to register, but I know there's about 80 ladies registered as of this morning. So feel free to, here's 17th, my bad. Yes, thank you. I'm over the place. Here's the one thing I would tell you. I've noticed that people don't take enough time for themselves, especially in the month of June. And then they get to 4th of July and they're fried. And I would just challenge with you with slowing down to speed up and take time for yourselves. And gentlemen, I would say the same thing to you. But there's a great opportunity for you on the 17th. I'm on it. And then lastly, July 10th, in this training room, we're hosting Ignite Live, a variety of voices and perspectives coming at you live. If you want to jump into Ignite, 12 courses around diversity of thought, diversity of approach, and learning a variety of ways to do the business. You don't have to be new to do it. We've had a variety of people at very successful levels want to participate in the Ignite course, and we have great instructors coming at you in the month of July. So if interested, register today. All right, you ready for some market insights?
Yeah, buddy.
I'm going to dive deep into May to help you understand what it is that I see and what you should be paying attention to. But before I do that, I wanted to recap a little bit around what James presented to the 120 people-ish that were participating in last week's training, because he gave some very insightful nuggets that will help probably reset how you receive May's data. So, couple things to call out. It's going to be a tough year, and overall in the housing market, 4.14 million sides across the U.S., or roughly 50,000 sides in southeastern Wisconsin. Your goals can fit within those numbers. Embrace that. 2, focus on people and stop focusing on money. It will all work itself out. Buyer satisfaction, buyer agent use, listing satisfaction, and listing agent use, the last 2 years is the highest it's been in the last 30 years. People value your services and they're willing to pay for them. It's always going to get harder before it gets easier. The market is tough. And there are 2 things that show up when you have anxious and stress and nerves. Okay? Lack of reserves financially, and or a lack of a pipeline. How do you become obsessed with being consistent in your activities to build your reserves and build your pipeline? Okay, the market doesn't determine your success, the market determines your strategy. Remember this around the database. 90% have no real estate needs today, 10% do. Yet the 90% will move to the 10%, and you want to ensure that the 10% works. Okay? Keep making noise and connect with your database. It's not that they don't like you or that you're annoying or they don't hear you. They hear you, they just don't need you today. Consistency without value is annoying. Value without consistency is anonymous. Okay? You cannot over communicate to your database. You can only under communicate. And then James walked us through 3 action steps that you can take. Action 1, the 100 touch program. What do you do and how do you implement? 2 is the calendar driven system. 3 is the 15th day protocol or the 5 p.m. protocol. What action do you need to take by 5 p.m. that will change your trajectory of your business tomorrow? All of the resources are available to you on the KW Realty MKE website. Lindsay had them up the day of the training so that you can access all the action items and the processes that are being shared with us. You can find them in the Agent Hub under Event Resources, James Shaw with Rise. Okay? My encouragement to you, if you attended the event, is what is it that you have or will implement in the future? Because education without implementation is just entertainment. You are not here to be entertained. So what is it that you take back and implement? Now let's take a look at what's going on within the market. The market's humbling. Great markets don't last, great agents do. You're not in it to build it for a great year, you're in it for a great career. In December, I challenged the group with basically this. My prediction is if the market was flat, I'd be happy. If the market was up single digits, I'd be ecstatic. So for the first 5 months of the year, where are we at? Well, just for perspective, I took a look at June all the way through May of this year, so you can see the historical progression over the last 12 months of the trend changes within the data. Last year in August is when we saw first significant trend change of our lead metrics, which is closed listings taken units and contracts written units. We went from down mid-20s to down mid-teens. And then as we got into October, November, December of fourth quarter, you could see how the trends improved, going from negatives to positives. And how does that impact then the lag metrics, which are about 60 days behind? So you can see the lag metrics of closed units and how trends changed over time impacted where it is that we are and where it is that we're going. Now let's take a look at this year versus last year, okay? So far, January through April, the market, despite despite one blip in March in terms of listings taking units, down 6% in the market, the market's trended very favorably through the first 4 months of the year. Now, something that you need to be paying attention to. Contracts written units was down 2.6% in the month of May. It's the first sign of softness that we're seeing on the demand side of the equation, and it's showing up in other areas too that I'll point it out to. I'm not creating alarm bells yet. I'm just helping you understand that there is a trend that could be coming that I'm going to be paying attention to as we head into June. Okay, new inventory units. Man, we got a lot of tabs up on this thing. New inventory units are up 4.9% this year May versus last year May. Again, rising tides. You can only do so many deals as long as new listings come to the market. It's still down 18% versus May of 22. Now, total inventory, it's up about 2% so far this year through May of 24 versus May of 23, but yet still off about 1,000 units from May of 22. I'm going fast because I'll boil this down for you in a moment. Expired inventory units. I think I've really beat this home, but something to pay attention to, guys. 2 things. 1, listing agents I know are overpromising and under-delivering. Listing sellers are giving listing agents the hook faster than I've seen in the last 5 years. Okay? Because they're not being real with their clients in terms of the state of the market. The second thing I would tell you is there's a real opportunity to be number 2 in the marketplace. And if you haven't been, if this has not been an area of focus for you, you should be paying attention, because every single month, this has been up significant double-digit growth in terms of expired listing units. And there is opportunity in the marketplace in terms of if you want to be more of a listing agent focus and diversifying your strategy. Sales absorption, this is the percentage of inventory that goes under contract in a given month. This is the second indicator that I've noticed where we're starting to see some softness. So we saw some slight softness in demand for the first time in May of 24. Also, from a historical perspective, typically sales absorption rates climb and peak in May and June. And over the last 2 years, this was the first time where we saw a dip from April. Now, 1 month is an anomaly, 2 months is a trend, something I'll be paying attention to heading into June, but something you're going to want to notice or pay attention to as it relates to demand and softness. Because if you remember, back in November and December of last year, everyone predicted what would happen with rates by May. They would start going down, and they haven't. Okay, so this is the first time we've started to see some softness within the market. But my message to you is the market is giving us mixed signals, and I'll explain that here in a second. Average days on market has not changed. So while we saw some softness in terms of the absorption rates, the market is still operating in on average 31 days per market. And the units that are going under contract were down slightly in May, down 2.8%. So again, an indication of softness we saw in the absorption rates. This is where I continue to say it's a bit of a mixed bag. And yes, I am talking out of both sides of my mouth. Why? Because it has had no impact on value or pricing. Average in the month of May was up 12%. It's up 15% over the last 2 years. Median, it's up 9% versus May of last year, up 17% over the last 2 years. And when you look at these metrics from a price per square foot standpoint, in the 1 year, it's up 8%. In the 2 year, it's up 17%. And this has been, from a pricing perspective, been on trend over the last several months. Okay. So the reason why I say it's a bit of a mixed bag is homes are still selling on average at 31 days on market. Velocity and rate of sale has not changed. Pricing trends continue to appreciate at around 8 to 10% on any given month. Yet we're starting to see some indications of some slight softness on the demand side. And I'm paying attention there first, because second thing that will happen is you will see slow appreciation gains. The third thing will happen is you'll start to see total inventory start to rise, and then days on market start to rise. We aren't there yet, but other parts of the country are. And so it's why I'm paying attention to it now. Make sense? The reason why I share this information with you is you have to be proactive in your communication with your selling clients. Otherwise, you will get a very quick hook and wondering why it is that someone else got the listing second after a week on the market. Okay. So when you run into someone at Piggly Wiggly, Shop the Pig, or Sendix, or Pick and Save, or Quick Trip, and they say, hey, Eddie, what's going on in the market? Here's a very quick synopsis as to what it is that's going on. Market is healthy, but there's signs that we should be paying attention to. The market's up 8% and new listing inventory is up 7%. That's good. That's really great news. Coming out a year in 2023 when it was nothing but red, right? 2, velocity of the market. Ironically, the marketing is operating very comparable to years past in terms of velocity and the pace in which deals are transacting. That's true. Now, I'm paying attention to this as we get deeper into the summer, but today that's still true. Demand of the market is somewhat of a mixed bag. For the first time in May, we saw some slight demand softness in the market because rates didn't alleviate like consumers expected. Yet homes are moving at similar rates and home values continue to appreciate, just for round math, at around 10%. So what I tried to do in this for you is to say, yes, good things are happening in the market. Yes, homes are selling. Yes, the market is up. Yes, new listing inventory is up. Yet there's some indications of some slight softness in demand we need to be paying attention to, but it hasn't impacted pricing yet. And that's where we are today. Does that make sense? I just tried to break down all the data to give it to you in a digestible piece. Yes.
And what were the KPIs or the data that is showing that the slight demand has softened? That was just the number of offers written compared to.
It's 2 things.
Yeah.
It is, first of all, units going under contract. So that's future leading metrics. Units that were going under contract was down about 3% in the month of May over last year, even though inventory was up. So you had more inventory, but fewer units that went under contract. That's first. That shows up in the sales absorption rate. That's the percentage of inventory that goes under contract in a given month. That softened from April to May, which historically it climbs because more inventory comes and more people get. The next evolution to that I'm paying attention to in June and July, first, what happens with pricing? Then what happens to the total inventory number? Now, in June, it could come back and say units under contract corrected. May was a blip on a radar. I don't know because we don't have a trend yet, but it's something I'm paying attention to. Basically, the synopsis, you had 7% more inventory, or 5% more inventory came to the market in the month of May, but 2.5% fewer units that went under contract versus prior year. So the delta on that is almost a 10% swing. Yes.
You mentioned that the owners, the
Yeah, so like Texas right now is really soft. Phoenix is really soft. Florida is really soft. Florida, I think, is an anomaly. I think what Florida is facing is twofold. One, the natural disasters are really, really hurting. 2, insurance prices have skyrocketed to the point that people aren't able to insure their homes because you can't pay $100,000 a year for your home insurance.
Right.
And so they're kind of at a different inflection point than like Austin, Phoenix, and some of these other markets. However, when I look at it on a macro scale, the Midwest is still really, really stable, really, really strong, as it, historically always has been. I do think, and I've talked about this with this group before, I think that where we are in terms of the lack of natural disasters and the continued access to freshwater resources will continue to be a very big underlying thing to our real estate values that should be very positive for us in this market. So, cool. Anybody else have questions? No? Last thing. Despite everything that was going on in the market, this group collectively across southeastern Wisconsin, all 4 locations, we paid out $6.6 million in gross commission income earned. It was up 19% versus May of last year. That's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
And year to date, 20.7 million in gross commissions paid out. It's up 14% versus prior year through May. That's what we call slaying the dragon. That's a direct reflection on your guys' activities and what you're doing despite the headwinds within our industry. And so I give you huge props. Also, for those of you that are in profit share, a little drum roll. Here you go. Month of May across all 4 locations, we're giving out $112,000 in profit share. It's up slightly versus May of last year. And year to date, it's $288,000, up 7%. Check your bank accounts. Cool. Awesome. Guys, it's a pleasure to serve you. Appreciate your patience with Michelle and Emily and the team on processing commissions. If there's anything you need while Deej is out this week, don't hesitate to hit me up or ask one of the leadership team members. We're here to serve. The world is run by those who show up. Thanks for showing up. Yeah.
Talk about commissions being processed. I had a couple last week.
Yeah.
By 10 o'clock Monday morning.
Sweet. I'd love to hear that.
Yeah. I was shocked. Wow.
We our goal is to get people their money as fast.
I mean, I expect to be a couple of days this week or something. Wow. That's really been working.